Hello, this is Eric Merritt from Eric Merritt Sells Easy Real Estate, our YouTube channel. I'm a realtor of Homesworn in Northeast Mesa. This video is going to talk about the 13 different areas criteria that you need to be well aware of before you consider buying a land lot to build your custom home or a custom home with an RV garage or custom home with a casita or whatever custom home you would desire to build. These areas are not limited to, but include accessibility, drainage, water, electricity. There's electric on the property, or if you have to pay extra to get it from wherever you're getting it from to get it to the property. If there's back taxes owed or delinquent taxes, the elevation and gain of the slope of the land is very important. The CCNRs, the Architectural Committee, and what you can build as far as what they will allow you to build. So we're going to go into each of these areas into the video. But first, just wanted to thank you for watching this video. And I know you're going to get a lot of good content out of it. So we'll go ahead and get this video started. Thank you. Well, this is our land lot video that we're going to talk about the 13 different criteria that you will need to know before you buy a land lot. This picture behind me is of Superstition Mountain, the Flatiron, and I have hiked this many times going up the Flatiron and about 3 times going across the whole Superstition ridgeline from one end to the other. From Kearney Springs Trailhead on the southeast side is the more popular way to handle the Superstition ridgeline, and then you go down on the northwest part down the Flatiron. It takes about 10.5 to 14 hours to do. You need to start early in the morning. Like I would prefer like 7:30, 8 o'clock, no later than 8 o'clock to hit the trail, because if it takes you 14 hours, you're going to need lights to go down the Flatiron, like I have done a couple of times, going down in the dark, which is kind of hairy, but you just do it slowly and you can do it safely. But this lot here is from what my client was interested in buying in Gold Canyon. It does have a steep slope elevation, but this is a view that he would have if we got this lot. But anyway, so we're going to go into the 13 different criteria of what you need to look for in order to buy a land lot. So when wanting to buy a home from scratch or build a home from scratch, purchasing the land lot first, and then finding your preferred custom builder, which you should actually find the builder before you get the lot. But you have to, in order to build a house, you got to have the lot first. So that's why I put that. These are the 13 areas that are included, but not limited to, are: number 1, accessibility; number 2, back taxes and delinquent taxes; CCNRs; number 3, covenants, conditions, restrictions; number 4, drainage; number 5, easements and setbacks; number 6, electricity to the property; number 7, elevation gain and the slope of the land; number 8, floodplain and flood zones; number 9, floor plan of the structure that you wish to build; number 10, the method of payment to actually buy the land lot; number 11, property uses for a land lot. What are you going to do? Build a custom home with an RV garage, build a custom home with a casita, and have a custom home with horse property. If you're looking at a lot of acreage for horse property, like 5 acres or more. Number 12, waste, city sewer or septic tank. And number 13, city water, hauled in water, private well or a shared well of up to 3 or 4 other wells. 3 or 4 other homes, sharing the well, which there is a builder that does that. And as long as they do it the right way, which they do, then it'll work fine. This is a picture of a lot that was in the MLS a couple of years ago. So when you see the listings in the land lots, you will see that they usually draw them out so you can actually visualize what the lot is. Because when you see a picture static at your same level, you have no idea how far it goes back or how wide it is on the sides. And this is a particular land lot in a neighborhood called Superstition Highlands in Apache Junction. So you'll see listings like this or a sign that has from the builder, where the builder wants someone to build one of their floor plans on it and their contact information, or it'll be a realtor sign and they want to, sell the lot for the owner. So that's what you'll see out there. So the first category that we're going to go into is accessibility. Where is the lot located? Is it in a subdivision or on a raw piece of land that has been improved with a shared well, septic tank, or power to the and power to the property? What are the roads to the property? How much are paved and how much are dirt? If it's dirt, how long are you willing to tolerate a dirt road? So I have some different examples of a dirt road. This one's going to the Peralta Trail, and then which there's no homes on this one because it's in the state park boundary. But this other road down here is a road that comes off 7th Street in the Central Phoenix corridor. And there's home sites on this side of the road, actually on both sides of the road. So if it's just this dirt road and then there's a paved road up there, that could be good enough for a lot of people. I think it'd be good enough for me, but it depends on your taste. And then this is another example of a home that was in Maricopa, the way southwest corner of Maricopa. The home is over here, and this is the dirt road that goes south. But to get to this one, you have to go on a dirt road that goes to the west. So, and then that comes off of a paved road. And then this one, where this lot is, this is obviously in a subdivision that has power, and that will have city water, and more than likely will be hooked up to a sewer. As I can tell, this is in Los Andes. So that's what you have to look for. How many roads are you willing to tolerate? I've been in some areas of Rio Verde Road in North Scottsdale where it's like 2 miles up or 1.5 miles up to get to the property. So just on a dirt road. So it just depends on what you're willing to withstand or tolerate. Number 2, back taxes or delinquent taxes. You need to find out if the property taxes are current. And if they're not, then you'll have to pay whatever the back taxes or delinquent taxes are before you can be recorded on the deed before close of escrow. Very important. Number 3, CC&Rs, covenants, conditions, and restrictions. Most subdivisions have CC&Rs to protect homeowners' property values by making sure that everyone follows the same rules and regulations. In the case of buying a lot, especially in a subdivision, gated or not, some of them will have a minimum square footage of 2,500 square feet or more of a floor plan. If building in a subdivision, you must know if you can park an RV, fifth wheel trailer, and or on the side of the house through an RV gate. Most communities will not let you park an RV or a fifth wheel on the side of a house. But there is one community that I know of in Goodyear that will allow you to do that because it's part of their CC&Rs. And this is right down here. It's called the Sedilla community. Citrus Road is on the east side, Perivale Road's on the west side, Camelback is up here on the north, and Indian School Road is on the south. Most of them homes are built by Meritage Homes back from 2012 up to 2016. But there still are new builds going on by Tri Point Homes, and they are building homes with an RV garage as well. So there still are new builds going on in there. So that's one of the rare neighborhoods where you can have a home like this one right here. This is an example. There's a fifth wheel trailer parked past the RV gate next to the side of the house. So it can be done. It's part of their CC&Rs. It is allowed to do it. Architectural committee, they have to approve the design of your home. This is imperative to do before you buy the lot, because if you want to build a farmhouse or some other theme of a house and they only want Tuscan, well, guess what? You won't be allowed to build it. If it's not what they want in their architectural standards, then you won't be able to build that house and then get a permit for it. So you have to be able to make sure before you buy the land lot what they want you to build or what they allow you to build. So that's very important. There are lots of other several examples of CC&Rs that most HOAs will enforce, like, the having a different colored back door, having even a um, what do you call it, a canopy over a swimming pool has to be a certain color, or if they even will allow it. The shrubs and the landscaping has to be done very periodically. There can't be any cars parked on the street. You cannot have a trailer parked on your driveway or on the street. Those are normal examples of an HOA, CC&Rs in the community. So an example of this is a home that was built by a custom builder, only 1,800 square feet. But if you wanted to build this in a subdivision and you're buying a land lot and they want you to build 2,500 square foot minimum, well, guess what? You can't do it with this floor plan. So you have to go to at least 2,500 square feet to build in certain subdivision communities. Now we're going to go to number 4, drainage of a land lot. Is the property flat with no washes, or is it sloped to a certain elevation? If so, does it have washes that go through the property and where? And can they be rerouted if possible with an engineer? So I'm going to read you this part. This is a question off of the courtesy of the Pinal County Flood District website in Arizona here. It's just south of Maricopa, or southeast of Maricopa County. Rerouting a wash properly is a difficult endeavor that requires the services of an Arizona registered professional engineer and permitting through the Pinal County Flood Control District. If not done properly, a rerouted wash would create a hazard and liability for you and your neighbors. In addition to this, you could be found in violation of several local, state, and federal laws and potentially face significant fines. Having an engineer analyze the wash protects you from liability and results in a proposed reroute with no adverse impacts to adjacent property owners. This is a wash right behind my house on Mountain Bridge in Northeast Mesa, and it was running after the remnants of a hurricane from the Gulf of Mexico, just to give you an example. So here's an example of a lot that I did tour in Casa Grande in the 85194 zip code, which is in the northeast part of Casa Grande, east of Interstate 10 and north of McCartney Road. This is an example. See, this wash goes right through the property and it also comes over here. So if you can reroute this wash to go over here, then you can build and have a far enough setback for the wash that you could be allowed to build. But you got to find out what the cost of that is, and if an engineer and if the county will approve it to reroute the wash. This is what this means. So, would you be willing to pay $77,500 for this lot with this wash that makes the property almost not very usable? So there's other costs involved into rerouting the wash. Now the next part, number 5, easements and setbacks. Easement is a legal right to use another person's property to get to another part or another piece of property, mainly yours. B, setbacks. These are required by the city or county how far away a dwelling can be built from a wash, a street, or from the property line. So I snip this picture out of the MLS, this lot for sale. This red I put in here. So the distance between the red and the white is where your setback would be. So your dwelling could be built within this red box, basically is what setbacks mean. And then that will determine the size of the house, or the floor plan of the house can be determined on what floor plan will fit here, because this lot is further deep than it is wide. So a home with an RV garage could be difficult on this lot, but it still could be done. It just depends on how you do it. Okay, number 6, electricity to the property. APS or SRP in Arizona, or a private electric company from a different state, then check with the electric company, the power company that is there. Find out if there is power close by that needs to be connected to the property, and if so, find out what it costs to get the property connected to the power. So this is an illustration of the lot at the end of the cul-de-sac from the first lot I showed you in the beginning of this video. This is the power box for this lot. So if it's got the power box there, it definitely has power to the property. Number 7, elevation and slope of the land lot. A flat lot is cheaper because no extra modifications have to be made. B, lots that have a steep slope from the street can be expensive because of the modifications that need to be done, which include the driveway, power getting up to the property to the house, retaining walls, or any other further costs that need to be done to make it viable, especially if you're building a home with an RV garage. I'm going to read you what this builder said about this property that we are trying to buy. This is the same property in Gold Canyon and Quail Canyon that we did one that my client was interested in at the time. So we looked at the lot next door last year and actually received the topo for this lot as well. This is from the custom builder, by the way. Site is very steep and we will have more than 10 feet across the home no matter which way we position. Need to know if the customer has a preference in how they want the RV garage positioned as well. I personally have walked this site and know that it is very rocky and will be a hard dig. We are looking at $150,000 to develop this lot and provide an extended driveway, retaining walls, and some sort of usable backyard area. This is also a tough lot to make an RV work as the driveway will be steep. I am showing the house on the lot just for reference so that they can see the contours and slope of the property. So this is a slope going up, this is a slope going down. So, but when you get, if you pay that $150,000 from this custom build, then you can have that beautiful view with snow on it in January or February on top of Superstition Mountain, which is a view that is very hard to duplicate. Okay, number 8, floodplain versus a flood zone. A floodplain is a low-lying area next to an adjacent river or a large man-made flood-controlled riverbed that could flood if it crests over its banks. Flood zone, an area defined by the special flood hazard area that has a 1% chance of a major flood in a 100-year event. Definition of this came from the FEMA website. Here's the URL of it. So what I'm showing you is the Maricopa floodway south of Williams Field Road and just west of Power Road. Power goes a bridge over this Maricopa floodway. You can see how deep and how the velocity of the water. This is the levee right here. In 2010, there was no cutoff here. After the 2010 almost flood, we had a big storm come from California then, and the land west of Power Road was at normal height. After that storm, then they immediately dug like 6-7 feet deep of this big retention basin, and then north of the Union Pacific Railroad tracks, north of Pecos Road, and built that. So that way the water could go into this retention basin, but still go down the floodway without cresting. But with this big turn right here, now Fulton built a lot of homes on the other side of this. So hopefully this plan works. I think it will, but you know, nature is nature. So, this is the floodway here again, going in a straight direction, and then it turns to the right here. Power Ranch is right here, Coronado Ranch is down here, and then there's another neighborhood south of Germain right here. So floor plan to be built. What is the minimum square footage allowed? If your desired lot is in a subdivision, if they have a minimum, let's say you have to have 2,500 square foot lot minimum. If it's not in a subdivision, then what is the size of the custom home that you wish to build? And is a lot wide enough and deep enough to build your desired floor plan, including an RV garage or a casita or horse property? So you got to know about that. Number 10, method of payment, cash or conventional. Land lots can be financed on a conventional loan. Banks have their different length of terms, but generally speaking, to finance a land lot, it must be built within a 1-year time span. Check with your lender on that, because they all differ. Banks can vary how much they will lend on land. They can go as low as 60% loan to value on raw land with no power, no water, no nothing on undeveloped land, and as high as 90% loan to value if it's got city sewer and it's got water and it's got power. So you just never know. I mean, I would say figure 80% loan to value is what you're gonna have to pay. 20% is what your down payment's going to have to be on most land lot purchases. Number 11, property use residential. Build a home with a casita or an RV garage, horse property, etc. for examples. B, speculate, meaning to sit on land without building anything. If you're going to do that, it's going to be very hard to get a conventional loan. I tried to do that for a client about 3 years ago, and every bank said you have to pay cash. If you're going to sit on it for more than a year, then you got to pay cash for it. Commercial, if you want to build a strip mall or something like that, then that can be a good potential as well. Number 12, the waste. Septic or sewer. Septic tank, how many gallon septic tank do you think you need? 1,000 gallons, 1,500 gallons? And what's the cost of digging the hole for that septic tank and installing the septic tank? B, sewer. If it's connected to the sewer, then the sewer can be connected, and for how much? If the sewer is real close by, like on the street, then the property just has to be connected to it, that's one thing. If it does not have sewer, then you're going to have to build a septic tank. So these are the different septic tanks right here that I show pictures of, and then this is a sewer treatment plant of Mesa, one of them. Number 13, the last one, city water is the most preferable. B, hauled in water is not the most preferable, it's the least preferable, and I wouldn't buy, if you can't get a private well or at least a shared well at the minimum, then I wouldn't even consider buying the land lot. Private well usually needs to be drilled at least 100 feet deep or as much as 500, depending on where the water table is. A shared well can be shared with up to 3 other lots, including yours. Next Gen Home Builders did this north of Rio Verde Road. There's the well right here. And then each property, each home has its own storage tank. So each home will never run out of water by itself. So they engineered that very well. That's the shared well that I wanted to show the picture of. So if you have any questions about any of this material that I've covered seeking to buy a land lot, please reach out to me at 480-999-6061. And I want to be your realtor of choice. And I know I do have experience on looking for solutions and answers to questions to make sure that if you do buy a land lot, then you are getting what you want to do, or you're going to be able to do what you want to do. So if you find this video interesting and informative, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and share this video with your friends or anyone else that is coming from out of state. And for you Metro Phoenix sellers out there and buyers, if you're looking to build a custom home from scratch, with or without an RV garage or casita, what have you, then I can help you with that too, to make sure you're making the right choices and decisions. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to work with you soon.